There's a particular kind of pain that doesn't scream. It doesn't collapse loudly or demand attention. It whispers. It hides in habits that look ordinary from the outside. You don't remember deciding to hold yourself back. You don't remember choosing to fail just before success. You don't remember learning how to sabotage your own momentum. And yet, you do it, again and again. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack discipline, but because somewhere deep inside your nervous system, success doesn't feel safe. Here is the paradox most people never name. The behaviors that once protected you are now the very ones quietly destroying your future. As a child, self-sabotage wasn't weakness. It was intelligence. It was adaptation. It was the ability to read emotional weather before the storm arrived, to sense disappointment before it landed, to abandon yourself before someone else could. If you failed first, you stayed in control. If you didn't try fully, you couldn't lose fully. If you never showed how badly you wanted something, no one could take it away from you. But now you're older, and the same strategy is still running your life. You hesitate at the moment of momentum. You procrastinate right before progress. You numb yourself when things begin to matter. And you don't understand why. This is not a story about self-hatred. This is a story about protection. You didn't sabotage your life because you hated yourself. You sabotaged it because you learned very early that hope was dangerous. The core wound behind early self-sabotage is not failure. It's conditional worth. It's the moment a child learns, often without words, that love is something you earn, not something you receive. That attention is unpredictable. That emotional safety is fragile. In these environments, children don't rebel. They adapt, and the adaptation is subtle. They learn to erase parts of themselves to stay safe. They learn to dim desire. They learn to preempt loss by choosing it first. Psychologically, this is not random behavior. It's a survival pattern built into the nervous system. When a child grows up with emotional neglect, not overt abuse, but absence, something critical happens. Their emotions are not mirrored. Their needs are not consistently met. Vulnerability is ignored or quietly punished. Over time, the child internalizes a rule that will govern their entire life. If I need too much, I lose connection. Desire becomes dangerous. Wanting becomes risky. Hope becomes something to manage, not embrace. From here, hypervigilance develops. The child becomes an expert observer. They monitor tone shifts, facial expressions, silence. Their body learns that safety depends on anticipation. The nervous system stays locked in alert mode, constantly scanning for signs of rejection or disappointment. This creates a baseline state of anxiety that feels normal to them. Calm feels unfamiliar. Stillness feels threatening. In adulthood, this hypervigilance doesn't disappear. It simply changes targets. Success, intimacy, visibility, all begin to trigger the same internal alarm. Not because they are dangerous now, but because they once were. Often, this child was also parentified. They learned to be mature early, to be easy, to not cause trouble. They became emotionally responsible for the environment around them. The unspoken deal was clear. If I perform stability, I earn belonging. Their worth became conditional on usefulness, composure, and self-control. Over time, the brain's default narrative formed around this belief. I am only safe when I don't want too much. I am only loved when I don't take up space. So when adult life offers opportunities, love, recognition, growth, the nervous system reacts as if danger has returned. The body doesn't differentiate between past and present. It remembers, and self-sabotage becomes the emergency brake. Not consciously, automatically. A delay here, a mistake there. From the outside, it looks like fear of failure. In reality, it's fear of exposure. The emotional cost of this pattern is not measured in missed achievements. It's measured in invisible grief. The grief of the self you never allowed to fully exist. You didn't lose loudly. You lost quietly. You lost enthusiasm. You lost spontaneity. You lost the right to want without guilt. You learned to confuse peace with numbness, to call emotional flatness stability. to mistake survival for safety. There is a particular sorrow that comes from living at half volume, from constantly holding back the part of you that longs, reaches, dreams. It's the grief of potential, not because you weren't capable, but because you weren't allowed to believe it was safe to try. You learned to pre-grieve your own happiness, to expect disappointment before joy had a chance to arrive. Over time, even success feels hollow, because part of you never believed it was meant to last. This creates an adult who fears rest, because rest invites awareness, and awareness invites grief. It creates an adult who stays busy, distracted, productive, but disconnected, because slowing down would mean feeling what was never felt. It creates an adult who lives in almost successful, almost loved, almost fulfilled, because full arrival still feels like abandonment waiting to happen. In adulthood, these patterns show up everywhere. In relationships, you might pull away right when things become emotionally safe. You might choose unavailable partners or create distance after intimacy. Not because you don't want closeness, but because connection once came with consequences. In your career, you might delay finishing projects, downplay your ambition, or quit right before momentum builds. Visibility feels like exposure. Exposure once meant judgment. In self-worth, you might intellectualize your emotions, stay functional but disconnected, feel guilty for wanting more. Desire still triggers the old warning: don't reach too far. Boundaries become difficult because your worth was once measured by how useful you were. Saying no feels like a threat to belonging. Emotional regulation becomes a struggle. You numb with distraction. You overthink instead of feel. You stay busy to avoid stillness. Stillness brings the ache you never had space to process. Identity becomes blurred. You don't fully know who you are, only who you learn to be to survive. The most important truth here is this: none of these behaviors are flaws. They are coping mechanisms. They are strategies that worked once and outlived their usefulness. Healing does not come from forcing yourself to be different. It comes from understanding why you became this way. Awareness is not enough, but it is the beginning. Because once you see the pattern, you can stop mistaking it for your identity. Healing begins the moment you stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what did I survive. This work is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming safe with yourself. It's about teaching your nervous system that you no longer have to earn rest, love, or permission to exist fully. Inner child work is not about indulgence. It's about consistency, about showing up for your needs without punishment or negotiation. Shadow work is not about erasing self-sabotage, but listening to it. That part of you is not your enemy. It's a protector that never learned the danger had passed. When you stop fighting it and start understanding it, it softens. Nervous system regulation is essential because this wound does not live in thought alone. Safety must be felt in the body before the mind can believe it. Slow practices matter. Gentle rhythms matter. Softness over survival matters. There is one truth that must anchor everything. You are not broken. You were adaptive. And now you are allowed to choose differently. The goal is not to be fearless. The goal is not to erase the past. The goal is not to be fixed. The goal is to become whole. To stop abandoning yourself in moments that matter. To let success arrive without immediately preparing for loss. To allow desire without punishment. To stay present when things are good. You don't have to sabotage your future to honor your past. If this resonates, let it reach someone who needs it. And remember, healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about finally becoming yourself.